Welcome to Care Smarts 360 on Air, a home care podcast. And I am Ruby Mehta, VP of Sales at Care Smarts, back again with a new podcast. A well-trained, motivated team translates directly to better client outcomes, higher satisfaction rates, and ultimately a thriving business. That's because caregivers and nurses provide the essential services that keep clients safe and independent at their homes. But effective talent management ensures that you have the right people with the right qualification for each client. By investing in training, development, and competitive compensation, you create a positive work environment that retains top talent. This further ensures care continuity and optimum utilization of resources. Also, lower turnover translates to lower recruitment and onboarding expenses. Effectively managing and optimizing your home care workforce isn't just about filling positions. It's about building a team dedicated to delivering exceptional care. This, in turn, fuels the engine of your home care business, ensuring its long-term success. So on that topic, today we have Marty Ramseck on the panel, who is the Talent Optimization Advisor at PI Midlantic, that focuses on developing home care agencies' people strategy and aligning it with their business strategy to deliver better overall business results. Welcome to the podcast, Marty. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Awesome. So tell us something or tell our audience about yourself and also about Predictive Index.
Yes. Yeah, a little bit about me. I've been for many, many years, I was a VP of sales in the home care and assisted living industries. So I know it very, very, very well. And for the last year, I've been a PI consultant doing predictive index consulting with clients. Of course, with my background, a lot of it being in the home care industry. And what we do, you kind of touched on it a little bit, Ruby, is companies have a business strategy that they spend many, many hours developing. And that business strategy is there to get the business results that they need to get for their board members or stockholders, whoever that may be. And where we come in is we want to marry their company's business strategy with their talent strategy. What type of talent does it have to be to make that business strategy come to life, right? So we help them design teams. You think about a team, and anytime someone joins a team, the team is either getting better or it's getting worse. How do we design teams to make the business strategy come alive? We're part of the hiring process. We're another data point in the hiring process to help make better hires based upon bringing good people in. Then once they're on board, how do we inspire them effectively? Everyone who needs to be inspired differently. How do we work with them effectively? Then last but not least, we diagnose. Are we doing it right? Are you able to hire A players into your company? Are you keeping your best people? And most importantly, are your best people engaged and can't wait to come to work to do a great job for your clients and the clients' families?
Awesome. That's exactly what we need. You have great experience in sales, in home care industry, and now you are consulting. That's a beautiful, beautiful combination. And I'm sure our audience will really learn talent optimization and managing talent better in their respective businesses. So I'll start with this. The very first thing that comes to my mind right now is the top key areas that home care providers evaluate to understand if their leaderships, their teams, and their cultures are aligned with their business strategy. So what are the key areas the home care leaders or home care providers should really evaluate?
I think they need to evaluate every job within a company in terms of making sure getting the right people in the right place in those positions. And you think about when you have a job, there's three buckets in which you're looking at for every job. One is, we call it, it's really the education, knowledge, experience that you want from that person coming in. And generally that's their resume, that's their application, LinkedIn profile. That generally gets them into the role, right? The second thing that they're going to bring is their value system. There's a value system match the value system of the company. And those are things like honesty, integrity, respect for diversity. When I worked in the industry, when I hired my salespeople, I looked for passion for seniors. They didn't have a passion for seniors. People could kind of look right through them. So growth mindset's another one. But do they have the right value system? And you think about that in life, we choose both of those in life. We choose our experiences, we choose our knowledge, we choose our experiences, we choose our value system. And the third thing is every job has behaviors you have to do in that role to be successful. And does the person that you're bringing in, does their behaviors match the behaviors they have to do in that particular role? Unfortunately, unlike the other two behaviors, we don't necessarily choose behaviors. Our behaviors kind of choose us. And then you want to see does their behaviors match the behaviors of the job they're going to have to do. So they're coming into work every day, engaged, fulfilled, versus trying to be somebody that they're not.
Yeah, yeah. And many times we have seen that the leadership has some goals and their business strategy, but the teams, it does not translate really well to their teams.
Mhm.
So there is this communication gap, or people don't really understand the importance or effectiveness of that communication piece. So how to really assess if a leadership team understands and effectively communicates their business strategy to motivate and guide their employees?
Yeah, and if you think about that, is does the leadership have a plan and how to work with each individual employee? A lot of leadership teams, they treat everybody like they have the same shoe size, right? And they treat everybody the same, everyone equal, which is great. But you want to treat everyone fair, everyone equal, but everyone's motivated by different needs. Do they have a plan in place or a people strategy of how to effectively work with each person? Some people need autonomy in the workplace. Some people need a little bit more hand holding. What type of recognition do they prefer? Do they prefer public recognition or is it private recognition? Do they need processes in place, or do they need to kind of juggle things throughout the day? Do they need a lot of rules and structure, or are they better at working autonomy? What is the strategy of how you're working with each person so you're inspiring them every day based upon the strengths that they bring to the company and getting the best out of them based upon that people strategy?
Awesome. Yeah, that's really the key. People really, and we have seen that across the industry and even other industries, there is a plan in place, and that plan executes in a similar fashion for everyone. If they
Hmm.
have a method of recognition talent, they will do it the same way. I think you really hit the nail here. There are different ways people find success in so many different ways, and they feel motivated in so many different ways. That's really true. Yes. Do you have any data-driven models or frameworks that can help agencies measure the alignment between the leadership teams and their business strategy?
Yeah, we predictive index. We have a diagnose tool, and it really looks at we look at the four key areas we think that you have misalignment. Number one is, if you put salary and benefits to the side, number one is, are people in the right jobs? Are they doing what they do best every day to be successful? The second part of that is the manager working with them effectively. Back to the last thing I just talked about. Do they have a manager strategy with that person based upon the needs that that person has? Are they working with them effectively? Third is, how's the team working well together, right? When you've been on a great team, you can't wait to come to work every day. You're doing great things for families and residents, and it's exciting, and you're motivated about work. When you work on a bad team, it's awful. It's like you almost have a bullseye on your back, and you're thrown underneath the bus every time you make a mistake. And then the third is, is there culture match with that person, or they have honesty, integrity, but the culture says if you lie, cheat, and steal, you get ahead. So we have a survey that looks at all four of those. But really, what we do that I think is really important is, outside of being a data dump, and which most surveys are, people surveys like a data dump. Get all this information. Here's what I'm doing great at. Here's what I need to improve. But what do I do with it? And we have our survey is one of the few that have an actual action plan on your blind spots to say these are the things specifically you can do to improve your blind spots based upon where you're at in each one of those areas, and have an action plan going forward to improve on that versus just being a data dump and say, well, okay, I'm great here, but I'm not good here. Now we have an action plan for our clients to move forward to take action on it.
Yeah, right. And they need to really know those key areas and also basically analyze their current culture, right? To make things work. On that note, how do people analyze their current culture to see if it fosters the behaviors and value needed to execute their business strategy?
Yeah, I mean, I really think that it goes back to understanding each employee, understanding what they bring, and then really the frontline managers really rewarding people that are doing what the culture says they need to do. I mean, it's not just a mission statement up on a wall, but what are they doing every day to reward people that are buying into the culture and doing things that are really strong with that culture through daily through the one-on-one stand-up meetings or weekly meetings. What is being there to reinforce the culture, and what is also being there to penalize somebody who's not reinforcing that culture from that standpoint?
Yeah. I have seen a lot of systems out there, the little, technology pieces out there that really help understand the trends of their employees and then reward them based on those trends. And those are really picking up these days. I was recently at a conference in Florida, their state conference for home and healthcare. And I met with a couple of technology vendors who specifically just analyze their employee trends and then reward them based on how they are kind of trending, and that has a good mix of their visits and their behavior, their compliance, and all that good stuff. And that was really interesting for me. I mean, it can be, it's universal for any industry.
Yeah.
Right. So understanding your employees and their trends is really helpful, and rewarding them appropriately is a great tool.
Yes.
Yeah. So beyond identifying gaps, Marty, can you also offer some concrete strategies and best practices especially for home care providers, to improve their alignment between talent and business goals?
Yeah, I really think, Ruby, it goes back to probably one of the weakest areas most companies have is really leadership training, in terms of people get promoted or take over, and there's they get put in that job, and you think about most any other job, you have training in place. Caregivers have trainings, care managers have training, the salespeople, I have sales training for my salespeople. When people get promoted into leadership positions, there's no real training there for them, and a couple studies, we found at PI 1/3 of organizations don't have a formal way to measure success of their employees. 26% of organizations don't have a clearly defined roles and responsibilities for their leaders. So leadership training and supporting them is huge. There's a great TED talk out there, and she has a book out. Person's name is Tasha Eurich, and she studied 5,000 people. And what she found was 95% of people, or 19 out of 20, think they're self-aware in their leadership ability, but only 15%, or 3 out of 20, are actually self-aware. So all forms of leadership training and helping people with that is huge, because we think we're a lot different than we actually are, or how our people perceive us from that standpoint.
Oh, beautiful. You know what? That's a very, very important thing for companies to really understand. And you're right. There are no leadership trainings. I mean, if there are some, there are very few people who are self-aware and taking those courses or taking those trainings. So it's so important, so
Yes.
important to
Yes.
have that training or hands-on and case studies and everything, so their goals are aligned with their talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have trainings for everybody else, but not leaders, not so much for leaders.
Yeah, so you think about, do they have training in place to help that manager or that leader make better hires? How do are you hiring just because you have to hire, or what? How is that person going to come on and hire that great person, right? Then once they're on board, they have training programs on how to train a new employee or how to coach them and give them feedback. And third is, how do you hold your people accountable? I mean, what is the accountability that you have in place for those people based upon that? And you think about how many organizations actually train their leaders in those important areas to create a great organization.
Yeah, I can't agree more, Marty. This is very, very insightful. I want to thank you for your time and for your this insightful, for sharing those great insights. And I'm sure our audiences found those strategies helpful, and they will probably reach out to you. We'll put your contact information there. They will reach out to you if they want to consult more, learn more from you. But I want to thank you. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you. And just for everybody, don't forget your most, especially in home care, your biggest investment you have is in your talent and your people. What are you doing every day to invest in those very, very important people that make the difference in your success or not success of your home care company?
Great final thoughts. Thank you, Marty, for your time
Thank
again.
you.
Thanks. Bye now.